Every Pokemon has a purpose for living. Some are meant to conquer the wild, some are meant to find love and start a family, some are meant to work and help others, and some are meant to travel the regions, with a partner. For this little Piplup, it's the fourth one. He happily starts the day in Professor Rowan's lab, enjoying the food prepared for them by the scientists. Together with him are the docile Turtwig and the playful Chimchar, and all three are waiting to one day be picked up by a starting trainer and begin traveling the world. But just before Piplup finishes his food, Chimchar sneakily swipes it and eats it for himself. The hungry Piplup is not happy about it, so with its food stolen, Piplup starts spewing Bubble Beam attacks on Chimchar. But the clever chimp is quick to dodge all the attacks and start hopping across the lab. This leads to Piplup accidentally aiming its Bubble Beam at a Starly and Staraptor that the scientists are researching. In distress, Staraptor unleashes a powerful gust of whirlwind, breaking the window and causing the birds, Chimchar, and Piplup to escape. Outside, new trainer Dawn finds Piplup and Chimchar continuing their fight. Piplup attacks Dawn with another Bubble Beam, allowing it and Chimchar to run away. But then, this little penguin is too fragile for the outside world and finds himself stuck in a sticky web created by Ariados. Dawn manages to find a way to break Piplup free from the threads, and the two of them attempt to flee from the angered Ariados. However, Ariados catches up, this time with its whole clutter seeking revenge. Dawn tries to use some of her Pokemon food as a bait to escape, but Ariados alertly use String Shot to grab Dawn's foot, causing them to trip. With their prey cornered, the Ariados send their attacks towards Dawn, but then, Piplup suddenly steps up and defends Dawn, taking all of their attacks and using Bye to blast the Ariados off. Completely exhausted, Piplup is carried by Dawn back to the lab. But on their way there, they pass by Lake Verity, where they both witness a mirage-like figure appearing in the breeze. Back at the lab, Professor Rowan gives Dawn her own Pokédex and Pokéballs and asks her to pick one of the 3 starter Pokemon to begin her journey. Without thinking twice, she chooses Piplup, and together, they set their sights on a brand new adventure in the Sinnoh region. During their first days as partners, Piplup and Dawn are just beginning to learn about the world of Pokemon. They venture through the woods and try to capture Buneri, but fail. They then try to capture Burmy, but they fail again. Next, they try to capture this Pikachu, but they fail again. Turns out this Pikachu already belongs to someone else, and is being chased by a gang called Team Rocket. Although inexperienced battlers, Piplup and Dawn do their best to protect Pikachu against Team Rocket's attacks, and soon Piplup and Pikachu combine their powers to send Team Rocket blasting off. A series of events has led Piplup and Dawn to reunite with Pikachu's trainer, Ash Ketchum. Together with him is Brock, a Pokemon breeder. The two guys are coincidentally heading towards the same direction as Piplup and Dawn, so they decide to travel together because it's more fun that way. And I'm sure that most people would agree that the gang of Ash, Dawn, Brock, Pikachu, and of course Piplup is the best group of protagonists the Pokemon anime has ever had. Dawn's ultimate dream is to become a top coordinator, just like her mother Joanna, and Piplup is committed to helping her fulfill that dream. Being someone who likes showing off his skills to other people, Piplup is the perfect partner for a coordinator like Dawn. On their way to Jubilife City, they meet Nando, a versatile trainer who takes on both the contest arena and the gym challenge. Dawn proposes to have a contest battle with Nando, so now we witness Piplup and Dawn's very first battle with another trainer. Nando uses his Badoo, who's got the clear type advantage, but Piplup's got a move against grass types, Peck. Despite this, Badoo manages to dodge the attack and fire a Bullet Seed. Piplup also dodges and fights back with Bubble Beam. The water type move seems to have minimal effect on the Bud Pokemon, so one Solar Beam later, and Piplup gets a taste of how losing a battle feels like. Piplup and Dawn spend days practicing their moves, and one of their very first ones to master is the spinning Bubble Beam. It took a lot of failed attempts before they could master it, but it would go on to become one of Dawn's most important tactics, as it would serve as a predecessor for her signature weapon, Counter Shield. Piplup and Dawn are meant for each other, they're perfect partners, they're both feisty, competitive, and fun to be around. Piplup is also Dawn's hairstylist, as his Bubble Beam would ensure that Dawn starts out her day with good hair. But this family of two always has room for another member. One day, Piplup and Dawn once again encounter a wild Buneri. They spend multiple occasions and multiple Pokeballs trying to catch this Pokemon, but every single time it manages to escape. This time, however, Piplup and Dawn are more than committed to put an end to this chase. Buneri's got a handful of tricks, but Piplup skillfully dodges them and hits back with a fierce peck, which gives Dawn the opportunity to catch the rabbit Pokemon and add a new member to their little family. Soon enough, the gang arrives at Jubilife City for Piplup and Dawn's first contest. Dawn decides to use Piplup in the performance stage as he makes a bubbly entrance. Piplup begins by directing his Bubble Beam to the sky, then shows off his incredible speed by pecking all the bubbles, creating beautiful sparkles that light the stage. It's a simple yet impressive performance, especially for a first timer, and it really showed Piplup's skills and cuteness on the stage. Their performance is enough for Dawn to advance to the battle stage. Piplup sits out for the entirety of the battle stage to give Buneri the chance to shine. Thanks to Piplup and Buneri's hard work, Dawn manages to place in the top 4 of her very first contest. This is only the beginning for Piplup, as we would later see him grow stronger and stronger in every contest he joins. In Floroma Town, Dawn reunites with an old friend, Kenny, who's also from Twin Leaf Town. Interestingly, he also chose Piplup as his starter Pokemon, and it's now evolved into Prinplup. Dawn's Piplup tries to make friends with Kenny's Prinplup, but the antisocial bigger penguin low-key freaks out and smacks the smaller penguin. With that, a brand new rivalry is formed. Kenny is also a Pokemon coordinator, so Piplup aims to settle the score with Prinplup and show who's the better penguin in the battle arena. During the contest, Dawn saves Piplup for the battle stage, and boy does Piplup dominate this contest. It defeats Jesselina's Dustox before the timer ends, then proceeds to humiliate this poor Bagon in the semifinals. Not long after, both Dawn and Kenny find themselves in the final round, both seeking to claim their very first contest ribbon. Both trainers know that this contest must only end in one way, Piplup versus Prinplup. Both Pokemon begin with Bubble Beam and the attacks collide, but being the evolved version, Prinplup's Bubble Beam is scored a little bit better by the judges. Piplup then goes for Peck, but Prinplup deflects it with Metal Claw. Prinplup now goes for the offense with Drill Peck, but Piplup sends it back with twice the power using Bite. Having just mastered the move Whirlpool, Piplup creates a massive one, drenching Prinplup before it could cancel it out with Bubble Beam. Next, Prinplup once again goes for an offensive Drill Peck, but Piplup creates another Whirlpool, but this time jumps on the Whirlpool. Prinplup then decides to play along Piplup's gimmick and also rides the Whirlpool, where they have a torrential clash of moves. Finally, both penguins unleash another Bubble Beam just before the timer ends. But this time, it is Piplup's Bubble Beam that gains more points, crowning Dawn the winner of the Floroma contest and winning her very first ribbon. With the win under their belt, it's a great time for Piplup and Dawn to lighten up and explore other fun things. Just nearby, the Pokemon Fan Club hosts a Pokemon dress-up contest, where Pokemon, with the help of their trainers, well, dress up and imitate other Pokemon. Dawn chooses Piplup to join this contest, and he dons a Weedle costume. At first, his cuteness gains the crowd's cheer, but for some reason, Piplup uses Bubble Beam on stage, a move Weedle can't learn, causing them to instantly be eliminated from the competition. Oh well, guess they'll just have to come back next year and try again. It isn't long before Piplup returns to the contest stage. This time it's the Hearthome contest, one of the biggest and most popular contests in Sinnoh. Piplup and the recently acquired Pachirisu have been practicing their combinations for days because they heard that the Hearthome contest performance stage is a double performance. Their competition is tough. We got Zoe, Nando, Jesselina, and many other coordinators vying for the ribbon. Piplup and Pachirisu enter the stage, highlighting their cuteness. Pachirisu goes for Sweet Kiss, then Piplup uses Bubble Beam to surround their hearts, creating a nice contrast of colors. Piplup and Pachirisu then make a powerful yet dazzling combo of Whirlpool and Discharge, showing off how great a water and electric combination can be. Their performance was good, but as said earlier, Hearthome City is the hub of skilled coordinators, so despite a formidable showing, Dawn, Piplup, and Pachirisu failed to advance to the battle stage. Dawn doesn't take this loss quite well, so Piplup tries to comfort his trainer, but Dawn lashes out on Piplup, to which she quickly apologizes. Piplup spends the night beside Dawn, accompanying her as they mourn for their loss, and the next day, they're in for a new and exciting adventure. As recommended by Zoe, Ash, Brock, and Piplup encourage Dawn to enter the Hearthome Tag Battle. Here, trainers are paired together to engage in a series of double battles to win the coveted Soothe Bell. Dawn is paired with a trainer named Conway, who's very creepy but very smart. In the first round, Piplup teams up with Conway Slowking versus the opponent Scyther and Coughing. Piplup successfully counters Scyther's Razor Wind, and Slowking lends a hand by protecting both of them with Safeguard. The water types have a great chemistry on the battlefield. Coughing decides to attack them with Thunderbolt, but Slowking follows up with Protect. Conway then gives Dawn the permission to do whatever she wants, promising that he'll be over there to cover. So Piplup now goes for the offensive Peck, which strikes Scyther right on the head and finishes off the Mantis Pokemon. Slowking finishes Coughing off with Psychic, and it's a win for Dawn and Conway. Thanks to Piplup kicking things off, Dawn and Conway have now the momentum they need to make it all the way to the finals, where they eventually lose to Ash and Paul. Whenever Piplup isn't on the battle arena, he would often lead his friends to cheer for whoever's battling, such as when Ash would have a gym battle or when some of Dawn's other Pokemon are performing in a contest. In the middle of the journey, Dawn meets up with another one of her childhood friends, Leona. She helps run a hot spring hotel, where our heroes decide to stop over. At the end of the afternoon, Dawn and Leona decide to have a double battle against Ash and Brock. Chimchar and Sudowoodo may be experienced battlers, but Piplup and Swinub display excellent teamwork. Piplup shields Swinub when threatened by an attack, then would counterattack with Whirlpool, landing super effective hit on Chimchar. Piplup follows up with Bubble Beam, truly outclassing Chimchar in this battle. But when Swinub goes for Blizzard, Sudowoodo copies the attack with Mimic, causing everyone to be frozen and unable to battle. When taking a long break from contests because of back-to-back losses, our heroes cross paths with none other than Wallace, the Hoenn League champion and contest master. Dawn plans on entering the Wallace Cup, which interests Wallace enough to ask her to show off some of her moves. It's a great opportunity for Dawn and Piplup, so they engage in an unofficial contest battle with Ash and Weasel. During this battle, Piplup shows off his agility with its spin dodge technique, as well as its power by using Whirlpool to counter Buizel's Aqua Jet. The battle generates an applause from the Hoenn champion, and they spend the afternoon having a meaningful chat with him. Wallace points out that the way Piplup shows off his moves is flawless, but Dawn may be focusing too much on the dramatic moves themselves, rather than showing off Piplup's natural self. This pep talk with Wallace is all the boost Piplup and Dawn need to take on the upcoming Wallace Cup. But before that, a familiar face shows up. It's May, who came all the way from the Johto region to also compete in the Wallace Cup. Upon her arrival, May gives Dawn a Piplup necklace as a first meeting present. The Princess of Hoenn booked a reservation in the 7 Stars restaurant, the most popular restaurant in Valor Lakefront, or maybe in the whole Sinnoh region. But they learned that for them to enjoy a full course meal, they would first need to battle the owner of the restaurant and his fiancée in a tag battle. Only winning pairs get to dine in this prestigious restaurant. Ash and Brock are up first, and they quickly finish their battle in one move. Next up is Dawn and May. They both call on their bird starters, Piplup and Blaziken, to battle the couple's Drafrig and Drifloon. Initially, Drifloon defends Piplup's attacks with what looks like a counter shield before grabbing hold of the little penguin. Drafrig also dodges Blaziken's Blaze Kick, then manages to grab its leg with Bite. But Piplup engulfs both of its opponents with Whirlpool, turning the tides in their favor. Get it? Tides? Dawn and May then agree to finish the battle with the next move. Piplup lets off a Bubble Beam from below, while Blaziken jumps up and uses Fire Spin from above, forming a beautiful amalgamation of fire and water. When the smoke clears, Drafrig and Drifloon are declared unable to battle, giving everyone the access to the 7 Stars restaurant's finest dining. Dawn and May celebrate with a high five, as Blaziken carries Piplup on its arm, commending each other on a great battle. The day of the Wallace Cup has soon arrived. Dawn is nervous, uncertain if she's going to make it through the performance stage. But Piplup is there to spark the confidence in Dawn as he reassures her that there's nothing to worry about and that they'll give it the best they can. But Dawn can't help but worry, especially with a competition this big with an enormous pool of coordinators. At one point, she even squeezes Piplup so hard because she can't contain her anxiety. The sight of everyone performing so skillfully freaks Dawn out, causing her to overthink and be meticulous on every little thing. This frustrates Piplup, so he decides to fire off a light Bubble Beam, which is the very thing Dawn needed to cleanse away the distress. Dawn eventually advances to the battle stage thanks to Ambipomp's performance. After that, Buneri and Pachirisu win their respective battles, so now Dawn finds herself in the semifinals against Kyle, the person who just defeated Ash in the previous round, so now it's Piplup's turn. He faces off against Crawdon, and the battle begins with a collision of Bubble Beam and Sludge Bomb, scoring them equal points. Piplup now dives underwater, pulling off a new variation of Whirlpool and trapping Crawdon in the vortex. But Crawdon takes advantage of this and uses Surf, hitting Piplup right on the mark. Crawdon follows up with Dark Pulse, but Piplup does a spin dodge. While spinning, Piplup goes for Bide, melting the Dark Pulse and using the energy to fire back at the crayfish. The timer ends with Piplup having more points left. This victory advances Dawn to the finals, where she faces none other than May. In this battle between our two favorite coordinators, May sends out her newly evolved Glaceon while Dawn decides to stick with Piplup while he still has the momentum. Piplup likes to start things off with a spinning Bubble Beam, but Glaceon dodges and counterattacks with Secret Power. This move paralyzes Piplup as he could do nothing to evade the incoming Ice Shard. Piplup then rolls off the platform and into the pool to wash away the paralysis. It's now Piplup's time to attack as he unleashes a huge Whirlpool that gains everybody's attention. Instead of trying to dodge, Glaceon takes the Whirlpool head on and bounces it back with Miracle, dealing double the damage back to Piplup. Piplup gets back on its happy feet and fires a speedy Bubble Beam as Glaceon counters with Shadow Ball, which our Penguin gracefully dodges. May's got an idea to combine the Puddle with Secret Power to hopefully induce some sleep, but it only ends up making Piplup shine brighter. Now at this point, Piplup is slowly gaining control as he manages to defend Glaceon's attacks one after another. He makes a big move and rides his own Whirlpool and charges in with Bubble Beam, but then, Glaceon smartly uses Shadow Ball to block Piplup's vision and send him flying with Ice Shard. With a few seconds remaining, Piplup gives it his all in this one final Whirlpool, but for Glaceon, defense is the best offense as it tries to send it back with Miracle. Both Pokemon are severely damaged from this clash, but by a narrow margin, Piplup takes the victory, earning Dawn her second ribbon and getting them out of their losing streak misery. Committed to growing even stronger from here, Piplup and Dawn refuse to slack, and instead keep on practicing and polishing their moves. One morning, Piplup perfects his Bubble Beam art, creating a huge bubble caricature of himself. But after pulling off this amazing performance, Piplup faints from extreme exhaustion. Dawn blames herself for pushing Piplup so much that he's now been overdoing his actions, but all he needs is a bit more rest. Piplup awakes in the Pokemon Center and Dawn apologizes for overworking him, even to the point of saying she doesn't deserve him as her partner. But Piplup quickly reassures her of their lifelong partnership, and the two share a deep, heartfelt embrace. Piplup continues to rest the night in the Pokemon Center, but when Team Rocket schemes to steal the Pokeballs in the Pokemon Center, Piplup helps save the day with his blinding Bubble Beam attack. Piplup at this point has gained a lot of experience from his contest performances, battles, and all the training he does with Dawn, so it's only a matter of time until Piplup evolves, right? The time has come for Piplup to evolve. His body starts glowing, and Kenny can confirm that it is indeed a sign of an impending evolution. But then the glowing stops, and Piplup faints right after. Soon we learn that Piplup doesn't actually want to evolve. He used up all his energy to press the B button, that's why he fainted. Every time evolution threatens Piplup, it uses Bite attack to keep that from happening. Honestly, I don't blame him. Who wants to be this ugly? Dawn then proceeds to talk about the pros of evolving, that he'll become stronger, learn new moves, and possibly win more contests, but Piplup runs away. He runs to the forest only to get caught in a web crafted by Ariados. And just like the first time they met, Dawn saves Piplup, and in turn Piplup saves Dawn using Bide and blasting the Ariados off. During a battle with Team Rocket, Meowth is able to decipher Piplup's reason for not wanting to evolve. He wants to continue to protect Dawn as a Piplup just like their very first date together. Honestly, quite a lame reason. Just admit that Prinplup's ugly. Dawn now understands Piplup's heart, so Nursejoy gives him the Everstone to completely prevent Piplup's evolution, and they promise to always be a team forever. While Piplup is fiercely loyal to Dawn and his friends, his heart is shown to have a room for a bit more than that: romance. When Piplup tries to have a smell of these tomato berries, a Meryl accidentally hits him on the head. The sight of Meryl instantly captures Piplup's heart, and Piplup spends the day trying to impress Meryl. Meryl already has a thing with the Select Kid, so despite trying to win over Meryl's heart, she already has chosen her beau. In the end, Brock shares with him some of his wisdom about love, encouraging him to put the past behind him and vow to keep moving on, to tough it out, and to learn to smile through a broken heart. Not long after, the gang visits Twinleaf Town for the upcoming Twinleaf Festival. It's the perfect opportunity for Piplup and Dawn to learn more about contests by battling none other than a top coordinator, Dawn's mother Johanna. Johanna accepts the challenge and uses Glameon Umbreon versus Piplup and Pachirisu. Dawn's super excited to show her mom how far she's come, so she goes for the offense with Whirlpool and Discharge. Johanna takes this opportunity to dodge the electrified Whirlpool and show off her own Pokemon speed with Quick Attack. She follows up with Double Shadow Ball, hitting both Piplup and Pachirisu. Piplup then creates a huge facade of Bubble Beam, giving Pachirisu the opening to score a hit with Super Fang. But Johanna isn't a top coordinator for no reason, as she retaliates with Double Attract, infatuating both opponents, then finishing the battle off with Double Swift. Piplup may not have won the battle, but he for sure learned a lot of things from battling a top coordinator. From one festival to the next, our heroes soon find themselves participating in the Johto Festival, co-organized by Lyra and Corey. During the festival, Lyra asks Dawn to battle with her on stage. If Piplup can beat her Chikorita, Dawn is awarded a special prize. The battle begins with Piplup instantly taking a good chunk of damage from Razor Leaf. He fights back with Bubble Beam, but Chikorita lightens the damage by using Light Screen. Piplup now goes for the super effective Peck, dealing great damage to the Grass type. Piplup again goes for Bubble Beam, baiting Chikorita to go for Light Screen again, only for Piplup to switch to Peck, shattering the Light Screen and defeating the Johtonian starter. As a prize for winning the battle, Lyra rewards Dawn with a Pokemon Egg. The egg eventually hatches into a cute little Cyndaquil, and this little baby is really affectionate and clingy towards Dawn, which makes Piplup jealous, so they end up having a mini rivalry over Dawn's attention. It's been quite some time since Piplup has joined a contest. With Dawn's team gaining new members, Piplup had to give others a chance to shine as well. His next contest wouldn't be until the Lily Pad contest. Being a crowd pleaser, Piplup is called for the performance stage. He starts off by sending Whirlpool into the air, then takes the attack head on with Bide. This forms a beautiful Bide Whirlpool and gives Piplup a dazzling glow. This performance ensures Dawn makes it to the battle stage, and we all know what happens there, right? Thanks a lot, Mammal Swine. In the beginning of the series, Dawn would always put Piplup in his Pokeball whenever they traveled, but starting around the second season of the anime, we would more often see Piplup outside his Pokeball traveling with a gang just like Pikachu. Piplup and Pikachu are the perfect Pokemon brother duo. They're so inseparable that in one episode they seem to be highly affectionate towards one another. No matter how hard Dawn and Ash try to separate them, they just stubbornly stick together like magnets. Turns out this love spell is the work of a professor named Kodama, who is attempting to build a machine that helps water and electric types grow friendlier. But when Team Rocket tries to steal the machine, the whole commotion causes the attraction phenomenon to shut down, and Piplup and Pikachu tag team to send Team Rocket blasting off. Dawn again finds herself on a losing streak with contests, but no need to worry because the Daybreak contest has come, and her team is optimistic for their forthcoming win. Piplup gets to shine on the performance stage once more, this time together with Buneri. Piplup decorates the stage with Bubble Beam, then Buneri freezes them all, creating these sparkly frozen bubbles that float mid-air. Buneri then proceeds to hop from one bubble to another, and the pair finishes their performance off by popping all the balloons with Piplup showing off his glowing beak while he spins. it's not surprising that Dawn makes it to the battle stage. And thanks to Mamoswine and Cyndaquil, Dawn secures her 5th and final ribbon. This means that Piplup and his friends will get to compete in the long-awaited Grand Festival. But the road to the Grand Festival isn't so smooth, especially for Piplup, because when Ash's Gibble is starting to learn Draco Meteor, somehow nature has it so the meteor will fall right on Piplup. No matter how much Piplup tries to dodge it, the Draco Meteor always finds a way to land on him, and this became the running gag of the final season. Now I know where all the Draco Meteors that I miss go. But hey, at least it eventually leads to Piplup learning the ultimate water-type move, Hydro Pump. After enduring countless Draco Meteors, the Sinnoh Grand Festival has finally come. Coordinators and Pokemon are finalizing their moves, promising to put on a great show and aiming to win the Grand Festival trophy and the title of Top Coordinator. For Piplup and his team, they specialize in the cuteness department, and yes, that includes Mamoswine. Each team member has their own role to play in this contest. As for Piplup, he is reserved for the battle stage this time. When Buneri and Cyndaquil give us the best performance stage show of all time, moving on to the battle stage was never a question. Here, Piplup sits out the first 2 battles and is only first used during the quarterfinals alongside Pachirisu, although the battle is shown off screen. Piplup and Pachirisu clear this battle with their cuteness, and after Dawn defeats Jesselina in the semifinals, she now finds herself battling her ultimate rival and close friend, Zoe, fulfilling the promise they once made in their very first contest. In this final battle that determines this year's top coordinator, the spotlight shines for the mother-son duo of Togekiss and Piplup. On the opposing side of the curtain is a lethal combo of Glameow and Gallade. Piplup starts the battle by jumping on Togekiss, and his Bubble Beam makes for an interesting combination with Togekiss's Aura Sphere. However, Glameow and Gallade destroy this attack with total finesse. Togekiss then takes to the skies, trying to distract Zoe from an incoming attack, which is Piplup's Hydro Pump. But Zoe realizes this and smartly commands Glameow to shut it down with Fake Out. Hey, that's illegal! Gallade and Togekiss direct their attacks towards each other, but both Pokemon have elegantly dodged them. Zoe now shows off one of her combos as Signal Beam and Iron Tail highlight the beauty and strength of Glameow's tail, but Dawn's also got her own set of combos, a Whirlpool decorated with Aura Sphere, making for a gleaming attack that collides with the Signal Beam, resulting in some colorful fireworks. At this point, Zoe is leading with points, and she sharpens her Gallade's attack with Swords Dance. Dawn retaliates by showing off the most majestic Safeguard, but Dawn soon falls into Zoe's trap by focusing all her attention on Gallade, with Piplup using Peck to counter Gallade's Psycho Cut. The collision gives Glameow just the perfect opportunity to hop on Togekiss's back, deranging her composure. Now it's all up to Piplup to save Togekiss. He elegantly dodges Gallade's Vacuum Wave and bounces on his head to score a direct mid-air Hydro Pump on Glameow. As he lands, Togekiss catches him, and now the battle is starting to turn to Dawn's favor. Gallade manages to separate these two, but Piplup fights back with a powerful Whirlpool. But Glameow's insane tail seizes it like it's nothing, and Gallade slices it to score a good chunk of points. For the finale, Piplup and Togekiss make an incredibly powerful Peck and Sky Attack combo, which evens out the score. But Gallade and Glameow also have their own combo of Psycho Cut and Thunderbolt. Piplup and Togekiss clash onto Gallade's electrified Psycho Cut, and when the timer ends, Zoe is shown to have a little bit more points left, crowning her the winner of the Grand Festival and earning the well-deserved Top Coordinator title. Piplup gave its all and displayed an excellent performance in this contest, so Dawn is absolutely proud of him. Piplup exits the contest stage with his head held high, and he only commits to train even harder for his next contest and help Dawn become a top coordinator. In the Grand Festival, Piplup is cheered for by Pikachu with all his heart, so during the Sinnoh League it's Piplup's turn to cheer for his brother. He even rocks a new cheerleading outfit just for the occasion. But after the league, Piplup's days of traveling with Ash, Brock, and Pikachu are numbered, unbeknownst to him. Our heroes soon arrive in Twinleaf Town where they take a good rest before continuing on their adventures. The 7 AM alarm rings, but Dawn shuts it off because she wants to sleep in. But Piplup is excited for what's in store for the day, so he wakes Dawn up in the best way he knows how. While enjoying his breakfast, Piplup listens to Dawn, Ash, Brock, and Joanna's conversation. He learns that the boys are about to leave for Kanto this afternoon, which means he's gonna have to part ways with everyone. This saddens Piplup, but Dawn then proposes the idea that maybe she could go to Kanto too, and this instantly lights up Piplup's face, knowing they could still all travel together. But then, Dawn receives a mail from Hermione of the Hearthome collection saying that Buneri is chosen to be a model for the Pokemon magazine Pokéchick. This means that Dawn's plan of going to Kanto is terminated, so she needs to make her way to Hearthome City right away for the photo shoot. Piplup's hope of continuing his travels together with Ash, Brock, and Pikachu has shattered right in front of his eyes. He ends up clicking onto false hope. This sudden subversion of expectations causes a whirlpool of emotions inside him, and he outwardly expresses it by throwing a tremendous tantrum. Pikachu tries to calm him down, but he strongly resists and attacks all of them with Whirlpool. Piplup runs away, crying, angry, frustrated, and that's all thanks to you, Buneri. Pikachu, Staraptor, and Togekiss eventually find Piplup and they touch down to talk to him. No matter how hard Pikachu tries to reason with him, Piplup wouldn't listen, so Togekiss gently holds Piplup, giving him a comforting assurance, and Piplup just suddenly balls on Togekiss' wings as she gives him a warm embrace. Piplup then goes to cling to Pikachu, meekly pounding his chest, and we can totally feel the mixture of despair, rage, and love in Piplup's heart. Piplup, Pikachu, and Togekiss all share a deep hug, but Team Rocket proceeds to ruin their moment. Dawn, Ash, and Brock eventually find them, and they work together to rescue their Pokemon. Now free, Piplup powers up Pikachu's Volt Tackle with Hydro Pump, and they send Team Rocket blasting off for the millionth time. Piplup and Pikachu share one final laugh together, and Dawn starts talking with him with her words of comfort. She says that just like him, all of them are also sad about their goodbye. She reassures him that this isn't the last time they'll see their friends. Dawn calls him a big boy, and promises him that there's no need to worry. Piplup soon calms down, and they spend the afternoon watching Flint's battle with Cynthia on TV. When it's time for Ash and Brock to leave, Piplup shares a final high five and a final hug with Pikachu. Ash, Brock, and Pikachu drift into the horizon, and Piplup and Dawn happily go home together. Piplup continues his journey as Dawn's best and most trusted partner. He accompanies her in the Hoenn region where they take part in their next set of contests. Sometime during their quest through the Hoenn contests, Dawn visits Nimbasa City to get some inspiration from Pokemon musicals. She then decides to take a short break and tag along with Cynthia to visit Eastern Unova for the Pokemon World Tournament Junior Cup Tournament of the World. Cynthia accommodates them in her very own villa, where they have a comfortable stay. But the Undellatown expedition is not only a vacation, it's also a reunion, because Ash and Pikachu are also here. Piplup and Dawn surprise Ash and Pikachu, and they're introduced to Iris and Silent. Iris shows her fondness of Piplup, saying he's cute and squishy, much to his discomfort. Our heroes have a lot of catching up to do, and they spend the afternoon introducing each other's Pokemon. When Meloetta shows up, Piplup instantly falls in love with it, which sparks a rivalry between him and Ash's Oshawott. These two would constantly try to one-up each other and show off to Meloetta. Ash then proposes to battle Dawn, but Silent interrupts him, saying that he'd like to have a contest battle with her first and evaluate her and her Pokemon. So Piplup gets a chance to shine and impress Meloetta with his moves. He gracefully enters the battlefield, facing off against Silent's Pansage. Pansage goes for Bullet Seed, but Piplup fires back with a spinning Drill Peck. Pansage now launches a Rock Tomb, but Piplup uses Bubble Beam as a counter shield. Finally, the two Pokemon give us a collision of Solar Beam and Ice Beam, creating fireworks all over the battlefield. This sight truly enamors Meloetta, and it starts dancing with Piplup, so it's checkmate Oshawott. Piplup and Dawn spend a few days venturing with Ash and friends in the nearby islands. When the Junior Cup arrives, Piplup wins his battle in the first round against Ramon Stoutland. And this is actually Dawn's only win in the Junior Cup, because next round she loses to Iris. After the Junior Cup, Piplup and Dawn need to head back to Hoenn to continue their quest in Pokemon contests. As they bid their goodbyes, Oshawott comes out of his Pokeball, and at first, he and Piplup are both acting tough and mad, but they eventually soften up to each other and share a heartfelt hug. Piplup and Dawn soon board the seaplane to the Johto region, where they aim to compete in this year's Wallace Cup. The next time Piplup comes back on our screens, it's in Pokemon Journeys. In fact, he returns multiple times in the series. First, he and Dawn assist Ash, Go, and Chloe in protecting Cresselia and Darkrai from the hands of Team Rocket. During this time, Piplup and Chloe's Eevee team up to battle a wild Rhydon, with Eevee even using Copycat on Piplup's Bubble Beam. Chloe also opens up about her and Eevee's indecision to evolve, so Dawn shares a similar story of how Piplup decided not to evolve a long time ago. Dawn then encourages Chloe to join a contest someday, so she and Piplup give Chloe a live demonstration on how a contest looks like as they show off the power and beauty of Piplup's Whirlpool. Piplup and Dawn once again return to our screens when the space-time continuum gets disrupted by Dialga and Palkia. After an argument with Dawn, Piplup dashes to the forest where he is abducted by Dawn. No, not the Dawn he knows and loves, but a Dawn from an alternate dimension. Interestingly, this Dawn is a league battler, not a coordinator, and she abducted Piplup because her own Piplup turned into an egg, and the portal gates have suddenly closed before she's able to return OG Dawn's Piplup. When the gang seeks to rescue alternate Dawn's Piplup and all the other Pokemon in this alternate world, our OG Piplup along with the rest of the Pokemon also get turned into eggs. But once Arceus steps in, everything goes back to normal and OG Piplup happily reunites with OG Dawn. Literally every time Piplup shows up on screen, there's always a legendary Pokemon involved. During the Arceus Chronicle side quest, Piplup is a part of the team that stops the burning Heatran from destroying the Sinnoh region. He and the other Pokemon try to aim their water attacks at Heatran. After long arduous work, the threat has been stopped. Finally, Piplup returns once more to cheer for Ash and Pikachu in their final battle against Leon in the Masters 8 tournament. Piplup and Dawn are literally the only former companions who showed up to support Ash. What a real one these two are. And just when you think Piplup can finally relax and not be bothered by a legendary Pokemon, nope. During Ash vs Leon, Eternatus just had to show up and send Piplup a message that he can never truly escape the presence of legendary Pokemon. Maybe Piplup is a legendary Pokemon magnet, on top of already being a Draco Meteor magnet. I mean, he's literally got Meloetta's heart. To sum it up, Piplup is without a doubt the best companion Pokemon in the whole Pokemon anime series. That is no debate. Piplup is a multi-dimensional character who displays a lot of skills, an array of emotions, and one who always finds a way to make us laugh. Piplup is the kind of Pokemon all of us need in our lives. What do you think about Dawn's Piplup? Comment down below your favorite moment that he had in the series. But for now, me and Piplup got another legendary Pokemon to find, so we're out. Peace.